Are you thinking about sex right now? If you're fond of the censoring of sex and sexual pleasure, you can thank the Catholic Church. There are still conservative Christians today who believe that sex is strictly for procreation. Nearly everyone knows the connection between Easter and the bunny rabbit. Rabbits are known for having lots and lots of sex, especially in the springtime. As a result, they became symbolic for the fertility rites of spring. On earth as it is in heaven, as above, so below, we humans have found ways of ritualizing the sex act between Mother Earth and Father Sky. One thing that is not often mentioned is the Earth. Mother Earth, in these ancient philosophies, was often considered to open up like a flower or a vagina. The sun was anthropomorphized as the head of the sky god's penis, which plunged into the womb of Mother Earth nightly in a heavenly act of coitus. The semen of Father Sky was symbolized by rain, which fell onto the womb of Mother Earth, impregnating her and thus bringing life into the world. By the Middle Ages, nearly every English village had a maypole. Those with higher degrees of understanding will know that the maypole is directly tied to the fertility rites of spring. The maypole represents the sacred phallus of the sky god, thrusting into the womb of Mother Earth. The participants would dance around this pole, usually with red and white ribbon, and they would raise this cone of power. And this ritual was said to harness the energy of the participants. But the symbol extends into architecture and design. A church's steeple combines the fertility rites of the maypole, and it often includes the cone of power as well. In this ritual, participants do not dance around this pole, but instead they gather below it in song and worship. Another example of the phallus of the sky god is the obelisk. Here is the phallic Washington Monument, standing before the waters of life. Congregating inside the Piazza del Popolo in Rome, worshippers are symbolic of God's seed. It's rare to find an obelisk flanked with such obvious male sexual symbols. This is an extreme example, but this is in Rome.
The Star of David is actually a symbol of sexual unification. The pyramid or triangle pointing upward is the male phallic, while the downward pyramid or triangle represents the female yoni. The four-leaf clover is a symbol of good luck. Clovers were seen as symbolic of the celestial triad by the ancient Hindus. This was later adopted by Christians. Each individual leaf of the clover was thought to symbolize the male scrotum. Whatever was upright and long became symbolic of the male phallic, while things that were hollow, oval, or circular symbolized the mother. Weapons such as swords, spears, arrows, spades, and battering rams were all thought of as resembling the male's sexual organs. While shields, bows, sheaths, and the wounds themselves were often thought of as the female. Remember Cupid, also known as Eros? He's the little winged cherubim god of Valentine's Day celebrations. Some may ask why he symbolizes fertility, and why shooting an arrow through someone's heart would be symbolic of love. With the arrow representing the penis, and the bow representing the womb, and again the shooting of the arrow representing the seed, and the wound representing the vagina, suddenly the symbolism becomes clear.
Continuing on this train of thought, I should mention Aphrodite again. the world's oldest profession, prostitution. There were many temples in the Greek world built for Aphrodite. She was the goddess of love, beauty, seduction. But not only that, she is the patron goddess of prostitutes. The temples had a temple priestesses who served as a love object for the priests, the kings, and the other elite. And Aphrodite was based on Astarte, the Phoenician counterpart for the Babylonian goddess Ishtar. Ishtar is also known to be a prostitute. The Greek word for prostitute is porn. It's where we get the word porn today, in pornographic. It was derived from a word meaning to sell, probably described the selling of sex slaves. Can you find the Xbox in this photo? When the naked body is demonized, it becomes a guilty pleasure to sneak a peek. As a result, to dress oneself in minimal clothing is to increase seduction, suppress sex, and you can use sex to sell just about anything. If you haven't found it yet, the Xbox is directly beneath two of the highest paid breasts in Japan. But lest we forget the Greek island of Lesbos, the word lesbian derived from this island. Unlike today's understanding of the word, these women had quite an affinity for the opposite sex. Sex thrived on this island, and the women there were said to be quite talented, especially when it came to fellatio. Alchemy shares many symbols with the religions of the world. The rebus and its cosmopolitan equivalents may be the most profound. In Latin, re means thing, and the word bi is two, as in bison. The word rebus means two things. The personified rebus is a two-headed figure, half of it being male and the other half being female. In Greek mythology, Hermaphroditus was the offspring of Hermes and Aphrodite. The name itself comes from the joining together of Hermes and Aphrodite, hermaphrodite. Together, Hermes and Aphrodite are the rebus. A wedding ceremony is not a celebration. The celebration is the reception that follows the wedding ceremony. The ceremony itself is a fertility rite that is chock full of rituals. The wedding cakes, the rings, the wedding arch, breaking the glass, the unity candle, the veil, the bringing together of opposites, the yin and yang, the man and the woman dressed in black and white. This list goes on and on. Rice thrown at the wedding is symbolic of sowing the seed, symbolically tying together the farm's harvest and the newlyweds' plans for procreation. These fertility rites and rituals are politically correct in this country, especially when they employ religious overtones. However, the actual act of sex is less than politically incorrect. It is utterly demonized. Consider this. We don't refer to the mother of Jesus as just Mary. She's the Virgin Mary. She hasn't been tainted by the disgusting act of sex. Modern religion has been at war with sex for as long as it has been pilfering other religions for knowledge and lore. Today we are a far cry from the sexual fertility rites and the techniques throughout antiquity. As a safer alternative, people meet online where they are nameless and faceless and free to reveal their sexual fantasies to another nameless and faceless person without the risk of being linked to the actual fantasies themselves. While science tries to put a patent on a non-plant-based cure for sexually transmitted diseases, the general populace will continue to have a whirl on the wheel of sex, not having a clue what they're doing and only hoping to land on pleasure, not a lifetime of pain.